The practice of halal slaughter of animals for the food chain is an Islamic practice, an Islamic tradition. It is banned in many countries in Europe, and it is frowned upon by many, many people in Europe under animal rights and animal welfare grounds. But did you know that here in Ireland, you may well be eating halal meats, halal foods, and your children may be doing the same? Many people don't know it, but that is the truth. Let's talk about it. Yes, until very, very recently, the whole practice of halal slaughter of animals and the practice and rituals that go along with it was really no part of Ireland, Irish society. Many of us, most of us knew in one form or another what it was, and that it was a Muslim tradition, and that's the way they did things in certain parts of the world. And many people here who knew what it was were opposed to it on animal welfare grounds, on cruelty grounds. It was regarded by many, most people perhaps here in Western societies and in Ireland, certainly by me, as a cruel and barbaric practice, which in a modern civilised society should have no place. But now that Ireland has changed, and now that we do have people coming from different parts of the world with different belief systems and different traditions, halal has started to become part of the tapestry of modern Ireland. Now, in recent days, I've come across a number of tweets and a number of discussions, a number of people bringing up the topic of halal as regards Ireland and the Irish food situation. And I was surprised, indeed I was shocked to learn that halal foods is finding its way into Irish supermarkets and into the Irish lunch system. We do provide lunches now for young children in schools, which is a great thing. But what shocked me was that this seems to have been done with little or no fanfare, with little or no consultation, and with little or no knowledge from the general public that they may be unwittingly eating halal-sourced food and unwittingly supporting halal-sourced food. I wanted to discuss it. I wanted to dig further into it, and I reached out to Jana Lunden, the founder of the Natural Women's Council, who has been a tireless campaigner, advocate for the rights of women and girls and in the modern society, and fighting the good fight, the worthy battle against the woke mind virus in all its forms in Irish society. And I saw she was tweeting out, and I reached out to her. I'm delighted to say that she's agreed to come on, have a chat about this situation, see if we can pick through it and find out what is going on with this halal business here in Ireland. So, Jana, I'm delighted to have you on the channel, first time, and I hope it won't be the last. I've been a great fan of your work, your tireless work over the past few years, fighting on behalf of women and children, especially against the craziness, against the woke mind virus that seems to have seeped in and infected all facets of Irish society. And we need more people like you doing the work you're doing. But today's hot button topic is halal. Halal foods, halal meats, halal slaughter. Now, I noticed something the other day on the Twitter sphere, and I was quite surprised. In fact, I was actually shocked, because halal for Ireland and for Irish people has been a kind of a far-off thing, really had little relevance to us. It was a thing we probably knew about to one degree or another, but really didn't affect us. It was something that happened in other places, something that other people did in other traditions and in other civilizations, if you want to call it that. But now suddenly, it seems from a thread, particularly Erin Hanzo had a very good thread on this, and I know you saw it, and you were tweeting about it too. And I thought, well, look, I'll reach out to Jana, because she's as surprised and shocked at this as I am. And I believe the whole topic of halal meats and foods suddenly becoming part of our food chain here is something the public isn't aware of, and it's something the general public doesn't know about. And dare I say it, Jana, I think that's on purpose. I think the government, the state, has been trying to infuse this thing into the food chain here deliberately on the QT by the back door as a kind of a sop to our new to the parish Muslim community, which is a very small minority of people, but they didn't ask the rest of us. And maybe we'll start off, if you could, give me a general what is halal? What is halal slaughter? And why, if most people will know, but why would you and I and most people here in modern Western societies be opposed to halal slaughter of animals for food?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I didn't know much about all of the details of what halal meant until I dug into it after seeing it on the children's school lunch menu. So, what halal is it must be done by a person of the Muslim religion. So the animal has their throat sliced. The animal's upside down and they must bleed dry because eating the blood is against the Islamic culture. So the animal is in much pain and distress. They are generally not stunned. So their throat is sliced and they are bled dry. But before the Muslim slicer, butcher, whatever their trade is, does this, they have to pray to Allah and bless the animal with Allah. So for people like myself, and from what I've seen on my posts, which have just gone on fire over on Twitter the last couple of weeks, I think this morning 500,000 hits on one letter that a school wrote back. People don't want this type of slaughtering. One, because it goes against many Christian beliefs to be eating a meat that has been blessed by a Muslim person and Allah. So there's religious reasons, but also animal welfare. Many animal welfare activists across the world have spoken out against the barbaric, ritualistic slaughtering called halal. In fact, many European countries have banned this practice altogether. So when I started digging into what is halal, I put together like a 1 minute video you can post as well if you wish. What is halal? It's in the school lunches as well. We started seeing HF next to foods. It used to be GF for gluten friendly, but now we're seeing HF, which is halal friendly. So a lot of parents picked up my tweets and they wrote to their school lunch provider. And sure enough, all of the meat is halal. They were not consulted. They weren't aware of it. It's all halal. And one mother in County Meath had a response back from the school to say, if you do not want to feed your kid halal, you can always pack them their own lunch. So that child, because of whether it's a religious belief or ethical or for whatever reason, they don't want to eat this, halal slaughtered meat, they have to be the odd one out in school and bring their own lunch and not avail of the 300 million euros a year government funded program. So I would ask, how is that inclusive? How is that including everyone if they're catering to a minority and giving every Irish child halal? So then I stepped back and said, it must be due to money. You either have to follow, when the government does something, it's either one, to attack and degrade the Irish people because our government is proving to be very anti-family and anti-Irish, or two, it's about money. So I've written to Board Bia just yesterday to ask what the number of halal slaughterhouses there are in Ireland and what percentage of the total meat factories and slaughterhouses that represents, and also the estimated value in euros of halal certified meat going out. Because without having this, my assumption is, my instinct is that the government is making a multi-million euro enterprise off an export business, exporting halal to all of the other countries who have banned this barbaric practice. So what the government said is, we'll just make all of the meat factories halal. The Irish people won't mind. We'll hide the labeling. It's very deceptive. We'll put it in all the food shops and all the school lunches. And sure, the Irish will stay quiet. And that's what they did deceptively. But while doing that, they're exporting potentially millions in halal to all of those other European countries that said we are not allowing this barbaric practice.
Well, yes, there's a lot to unpack there, but it's typical of the Irish government, and you know this as well as I do, that if they know they're going to get an answer they don't like to any given question, their solution to that problem is we'll not ask the question. So therefore,
Yes.
problem solved. So, as you rightly point out, to most people here in Ireland, in fact, most people in Western societies, animal welfare is a given. It's
Hmm.
something we all have bought into long ago. Nobody that I think ever met was for animal cruelty. And
No.
whilst I have nothing against vegans and vegetarians, people can live their life any way they like. I enjoy meat, I enjoy fish, enjoy poultry. Bacon and cabbage is a staple of Irish diets, as you well know. We all grew up in that. And most people are of a similar mind. But whilst I accept that, animals are in the food chain, I want them treated in the best, most humane possible way when it comes to the end of their lives and during their lives. I think
Yeah.
that any sane society should be of that mind. Now,
Hmm.
we shouldn't, therefore, I believe, and I think most people, the vast majority of people here in Ireland, also believe, why are we engaging in some kind of 7th century primitive, backward, cruel practice of slaughter, of killing animals, that has really, I think, no place in modern society. And if people were asked, Jana, if they were asked,
Yeah.
I firmly believe the government would be told, we don't want this practice.
Absolutely.
We don't.
Absolutely.
Now,
Um,
it's not illegal here. I've checked. It's not
no,
illegal.
no.
And I know there's an argument made by some Muslim people. Okay, well, it's not all with no stun. There's stunning in some cases. There's two different schools on this,
Yeah.
and but other people. I was watching a speech by Rupert Lowe in the British Parliament there, and he was saying that yes, that's true, but the stun they use in halal is a much lower voltage, so it's essentially a fig leaf.
Exactly.
It's not the real deal. So where are we going with this? The government never asked us.
No.
They never, you're a parent of young children. They never asked you.
No.
They never sent a letter home to give your opinion. And they never asked. There's been no campaign about it.
Not at
There's been
all. No.
nothing on the news, nothing on RTE, no discussion on News Talk. And so that's why I said, look, let's talk about it here because, well, you won't hear it anywhere else. And the
No.
general public need to know this.
They do. They have people. It's all about choice. I laugh. I say I was an accidental vegetarian when I was a preteen. I came from a hunting and a fishing family, and when I was a little girl, I saw my dad's hunting the game hanging upside down. And that night, when I bit into a homemade burger, I got a little bone chip, and I said, "Oh, is that from Bambi on the barn?" Yes, it was. My parents said, and it just for me as a little girl, it shocked me. So I became an accidental vegetarian, but I didn't feel well. My own body didn't feel nourished eating just vegetables, and we grew our own vegetables. I ate a varied diet, but my body loves meat. There's certain times when I say I need a nice rare Irish piece of meat. So it's all about choice. It's not about forcing, a view on someone or forcing a lifestyle. It's about choice. So as the Muslims in Ireland have a choice about eating their halal, you and I should have a choice. And for the millions of others who are concerned from seeing this on Twitter, a choice about eating non-halal slaughtered meat. So the government in doing this, and the Department of Education in the school lunches have done something that does not respect the majority. The majority were not consulted to appease the very small minority. My children go to a Catholic school. There are not any Muslim children in either of my children's classes. I know this because my daughter had communion. So the whole class is eating Muslim food or halal food, but there's not even any specific person in the class that would demand that. And then going back to the mother that got the letter to say, if your child doesn't want halal, they can pack their own lunch. Imagine if that was said to a Muslim child. If you don't like the sausage rolls that we're serving in class, pack your own lunch. How would that go over if it was said to a Muslim child? However, the Irish government thinks it's fine to say to all of the Irish children here.
Yeah, well, again, as I say, the Irish government does a very good job of ignoring the Irish people on many different fronts.
Mhm.
It seems to be the one thing they're good at. But Another thing that I want to get onto here is not only in the schools. Again, from reading various Twitter threads, it seems that the halal certified meats are finding their way into our supermarkets, into
Yes.
various well-known supermarket chains. And the labeling is, shall we say, it's very understated. To the
Deceptive at best.
deceptive, yes. And I'll put flash a picture up here of some products that from Erin Hansel's thread, where the only way you would know this product was halal certified is if you knew the particular code of the particular slaughterhouse. You can see it here. Now, again, you'd have to be pretty much deep diving into the thing to even know that. It doesn't say halal anywhere. If I go into a supermarket and I see products that are halal, I won't buy them on principle. I won't buy them. I'll buy a product that has been, that has come to that shelf through the most humane way possible.
Hmm.
Don't give me the barbaric one. I don't
No.
want it. I'll pay extra for the other one if necessary, but you shouldn't have to. So, is there skullduggery going on here and apart from the schools, there's definite skullduggery there, as you say. There's
Hmm.
no choice for the vast majority, none.
No.
So it's like the pyramid turned upside down. We're going to
That
look after.
mother was told that their child can eat a vegetarian meal or pack their own lunch, so they don't get to have the chicken or the pasta bolognese or anything else. And one of the menus had that the turkey and the chicken and the mince is halal, but the meatballs aren't. So that child can just have a meatball or the vegetarian option. Now, I started going down, the school lunch, shall we say, the school lunch rabbit hole when it was about the health and nutrition. I had analyzed samples that were delivered to my house by a whistleblower at a factory that makes this industrial food. I looked at the ingredients, I read through it, and that's when I looked at the Irish, I think it was the Irish Times article that had mentioned some food was halal. And I said, I wonder how much. And now it is definitely the vast majority from the evidence that we have.
And as you know, the packaging these days, Jana, is I mean, it's so full on. You've got everything there, every
Yeah.
ingredient, the allergens, they've got traffic light systems on some of it. It's
Yeah.
broken down to the nth degree, you know,
Yes. Yes.
except for one elephant in the room, halal.
Correct.
Doesn't mention it anywhere. Now,
No,
that's not an accident, as far as I'm
it's not.
concerned. That is
And
not an oversight.
it is not. It's deliberate. And I've written to this week, I wrote on September 9th, 2025, I wrote to the Food Safety Authority of Ireland to seek clarification on the Irish and EU legislation regarding labeling. So, how is it labeled if it's halal slaughtered? So, I'll publish their reply, or we can come on for part two, Halal Food in Ireland, to share what the Safety Authority of Ireland says. I also wrote to the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine to ask who made the decision to permit halal slaughter in Ireland, under what legislation, what authority is responsible for monitoring. So when I get those two replies back, I'll certainly let you know.
Brilliant. Well, look, this is a topic that just flared up for me because I was completely unaware that this was a thing. I just assumed because Ireland, as you well know, we're famous for our food, be it
Yes.
Kerrygold, be it beef. We are a gold standard country for various food products. We
Yeah.
export them all over the world. We're known as a food producing country, some of the best pastures in the world. And now suddenly this whole alien
Yes.
situation has suddenly infused itself,
Yeah.
and in a very underhanded way, I think,
Yeah.
and aided and abetted by the government of the
Yes.
land against the majority of people who would have, if they were asked, I firmly believe, said, no, 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 this is not us. This is not how we do things. This is not our way. But
Yeah.
as is often the case, the tiny minority is the tail wagging the dog here. And I don't think that's a good plan. You know,
No.
I think the majority in any democracy should really carry the day. That's not to say minorities can't have their thing and do their own thing in their own way, as long as they're not harming anybody, as long as they're within the laws. I've no problem with that. But as you rightly said, that student of that mother, you know, if that role was reversed and a young, say there was one Muslim child in a class that couldn't get what they wanted, Well, that would be on the 6 o'clock news on RTE as
Absolutely.
discrimination. So,
Absolutely. And
yes,
the question I have, I've looked at what slaughterhouses in Ireland are fully halal, and I will be writing letters when I have time to hit all of them. But I know that the Irish Farm Foods in Navan supplies 100% halal meat. Dawn Foods produces halal meat. Roundwood Park Farm, just to name a few. So the question I have is, Irish people wouldn't be happy, but if Ireland's meat is exported, and Bord Bia will certainly be giving me that data, I wonder, do all the countries that we're exporting our wonderful meat to, because they've banned halal, we're exporting Irish beef to all those countries, including America, for example, would they be happy it was halal? So if the Irish government signed up to this halal slaughterhouses across Ireland because of greed and money, well, I'll be sure to let all of the people know getting our wonderful beef that it's halal, and they may not want it to be exported if there wasn't that transparency. So I won't let this go because it's all about freedom of choice for us as well as everyone else that lives here. It's about choice, but it's also the deception. And then the third thing, it's catering to a minority at the expense of the majority. And that's what we see with the trans activist movement. It ties in together. It's the same mentality from the government is, allowing men in our spaces and sports to give them rights, but it's not fair. It's imposing on the rights of the majority, the woman and the girls. So it's a really inappropriate way the government's looking at it. You should not fail a majority to cater and appease to a minority. So there'll be definitely more research on this, more questions to be asked. And all I can say is I hope that this does wake some of the parents out there up to say, they're really concerned the school food is halal. Well, why don't you also look in the content of the books? The food is poisoning the body, but the books are poisoning the mind. So although I'm really happy this went viral on Twitter, I only wish some of my content about the highly inappropriate school curriculum that sexualizes and indoctrinates children got so much attention as a slaughtered animal.
well, look, I'd love to get into that. I know you've been doing amazing work on that front, and I'm as exercised as I know you are about the current curriculums and some of the absolute nonsense. It's worse
Mhm.
than nonsense. It's evil. Some of the stuff that's being indoctrinated, and it is indoctrination. It's not teach, not learning. It's not
No.
teaching. It's pure indoctrination. I mean, Chairman Mao would be proud of some of the stuff
Yeah.
that's been indoctrinated into young people today who know no better. In fairness, look, if you're a child, you just take whatever the authority figure tells you,
Yes.
assume it's true. Now, just so if you're up for it, we can do a whole show on that one because again, the more people that hear about this kind of thing, the better,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. Do we know, Jana, or have you any information as regards the plants, the meat slaughterhouses that are doing this practice? Is it with stun or without stun? Are the animals stunned or are they not stunned? Do we know this, or have you
I
reached
don't
out to any?
know. I don't know that yet. I haven't actually started contacting the meat factories myself, so I need to come up with a standardized letter, a list of all the factories, and send it to every single one of them to get those answers confirmed. So, I'm not sure the answer to that. But as you said, the way that the Islamic culture stun them is really not the same as a proper Irish farmer doing it. So it still is what I would call barbaric. So it'd be great to get a farmer on as well who doesn't do halal to talk about that. I have reached out to an independent organic farmer in my network who I buy some meats from to just ask for any advice he has on uncovering this as well. We have a great group of independent farmers. I encourage everyone to support their independent farmer that maybe does their own slaughtering versus buying from the big box stores selling halal. If your budget can stretch to it, it does cost a little bit more for food that is not mass produced.
Well, look, this is a topic. We got the ball rolling here, and I think it's something that probably most ordinary people aren't aware of.
No.
It's never been an issue before. They seem to have snuck it in the back door and hoped nobody would notice. And I'll finish off.
1981.
Yeah,
1981, from my research, is when the halal certification started here. And the Islamic Certification Board is one of the heads of that is the doctor.
Dr. Omar Al Kadri, a good friend of this
Yeah.
channel. I have opined about him before. A man, he's the certifier for all of this
Yes.
halal business. He signs the certificates, doesn't he? I
Yes.
wonder he's probably making a nice few bob out of that. Maybe that's how he is able to drive around the top in a range BMW SUV.
Hi guys, this is the life.
And good luck to the man. I mean, we've all got to earn a living. But I don't know if this is, to me, an ethical way of doing it. I don't think it's an ethical way of ending an animal's life. That's my opinion. And I think it's the opinion of many other people. And Jana, I know you're digging into this. You've written a lot of letters to various people. Maybe we could return to this when the votes are in, when you get some responses, when the
Yep.
picture becomes a bit clearer, because I know it's a hot button topic, but you won't see this discussion on the 6-1 News. You won't see it on News Talk. You won't see it in any of those places, or in the Irish
Yeah.
Times or the Irish Independent. So this is really where people have to come for these conversations.
Yeah.
And they have to be, these conversations have to happen, because when I go out to buy my groceries, I want to know what I'm buying. And just in the same way as I want to know what way it's processed, what allergy advice is there, I also would like to know,
Mhm.
is this a halal product? Because if it is, then I'm not a purchaser. I'm not going to be buying it. And at the moment, that's all hidden. And I believe on purpose. And it's up to us to keep kind of pushing for proper labeling, so that
Yes.
ordinary people can make an informed choice.
And
An
I'll be doing a
informed.
press release just to prove to everyone who still may trust legacy media. I will do a press release once I get the data to reveal all of the information on halal, who signed the contracts, how many meat factories, how much it's worth. And I don't think any legacy media will touch it. So I can publish the press release and prove that. They don't publish our book content. Why would they publish this?
You know they won't, Jana. You know they won't. We don't have
No.
to. No, we're both on the same page there.
Yes.
They don't want to know. See no evil, hear no evil. It's nothing. Head in the sand. Nothing to do with us. Jana, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I'm delighted that you took the time to chat to me and to my viewers. And I hope we revisit this again, and indeed talk about other hot button topics. And I look forward to many more chats.
Thanks very much.